You're listening to Productivity Straight Talk with your host, Amber De La Garza. She is passionate, direct, and sometimes a little sarcastic, but always gives you what you need to succeed in business. Now, here's your host, Amber De La Garza, the Productivity Specialist.
Welcome and thank you for listening to Productivity Straight Talk. Today is episode 003, Your Big Why, not just another stupid exercise. If you're an entrepreneur who wants to take consistent, massive, focused action in your business and life, then you're in the right place, and I'm so glad you've joined me today. My goal today is for you to identify your big why and learn why having such clarity is vital to your success. I'm excited about this episode because you're going to discover why it's important to find clarity on your big why, how your big why anchors you to your goals, why entrepreneurs need to be visionaries, not just executors, if your big why can change, and what questions to ask to identify and discover what your true big why is. So let's dive right in. Discovering your big why, not just a stupid exercise. Now, why would I have named this podcast episode that? Well, the truth is that there's a lot of exercises out there that we think will be of value or move us forward in our businesses. And at the end of the day, they're just exercises that kind of keep us busy. But this one right here, we hear a lot about what is your big why, or maybe you're listening and you've never heard about identifying your big why. Either way, you need to get back to it and determine what your big why is to move forward in your business. Now, I am just starting out my podcast and we are on episode 003. And so why do you think I'm starting with the big why? I'm starting you out with your big why because this is where I start out all of my clients. Personal productivity, and we identified what that was in episode 001. So you haven't listened to it, go back to episode 001 where we define productivity is investing your best time into your best activities. Now, how do you identify what your best activities are if you don't know what your goals are? And how do you know what the right goals are for your business if you don't have a big why? So that's why we're starting out in this place right now today. Defining your big why is a motivating factor that drives you. It's your purpose. Your big why should be what gets you up every morning to go to work. You see, it's what anchors and is unwavering during those dark and challenging times of being an entrepreneur or a business owner. It's why you continue to take one step forward and continue even when times seem tough. Now, if you're listening to this and you're an entrepreneur, I can guarantee that you've had some tough times. I can also guarantee that you've had days where you didn't feel like getting up or getting after it. We all do. Why the big why is so important is because on those days when we don't feel super excited about what we're doing, if we tie ourselves to our big why, the day-to-day stuff, the day-to-day crap that happens in business doesn't matter as much because it just doesn't stand up to the bigger picture. And so I want you, by the end of this episode, to discover your big why. And to do that, I have a free resource for you. And we are going to go into some of the questions it's going to take for you to discover your big why in this episode. But I'd love for you to go and download this free guide to discovering your big why, plus some tips on how keeping your big why in front of you front and center. And you can do that by going to productivityspecialist.com/103 download. Again, that's a free guide to discovering your big why, plus some tips on keeping your big why front and center in your life. Now, why do we start with the big why? As Stephen Covey says, you must begin with the end in mind. You need to know where you're going. You need to know what the bigger picture is so that your quarterly goals, your yearly goals, your daily goals all make sense under the umbrella of your big why. If you don't know where you're going, then any new shiny object, project, opportunity, app, program will look like what you should be spending your energy and time on. And that is not how you will increase your productivity. Being productive needs to be you investing your best time into your best activities. Your best activities will get you closer to achieving your goals. I want to start off with saying, My big why wasn't really easy for me to discover. I initially had a surface level why. And when I do this with my clients, I make them dig deep and journal and answer questions until they find what their real true big why is. Because if you come back and you just have a surface level answer that you think you should have, that is not what is going to get you out of bed. Your big why needs to be very emotional, tied to something that's bigger than you. Some people's big whys are superficial. That's okay. We are not here to judge you. Some people's big whys are making a huge impact in the world, volunteering overseas to people that really need help. Some of my clients' big whys are their kids are in high school and all of their college tuition had been spent to support the family. And now they want to make the money to put back into that college fund. I have other clients that their big why is to have financial independence from their spouse. Other big whys are things such as giving their children the life that they didn't have. Perhaps they lived in poverty. And so a big why is taking it past the money that your business is going to generate for you and looking at that money and saying, what can that money do? My husband and I have this saying, neither one of us are big money people where money is the end all and be all, but we do know that money serves a purpose. And that purpose is that it gives you freedom to make choices. It gives you freedom in not having the day-to-day stresses. And so when you look at the money that your business can generate for you, what can that money do for you to achieve your big why? Before we go any further, I want to share with you my big why. Now, I share this with my clients on a very intimate level because I think they need to know that we all have our own journey and we all have something that's very unique to us and what our big why is. I'm going to share this with you not to influence what your big why should be, but to give you an idea of what my process was of discovering my big why. Like I said, it wasn't an overnight process and it was something that happened over time. And the reason I know I've hit my big why is because, like I said, when there's days that don't seem like I'm really excited about work, or there's days that seem a little bit overwhelming, I take it back to my big why and it all seems okay. You see, I started my business 5 years ago. I had my son almost 7 years ago, and I had this dream of starting my business. My husband was able to give me that dream because he is an extremely hard worker and a great provider for our family. And so he said, you know what, baby, go live your dreams. We had a speckle in our eye. We weren't sure where this business was going to take us. And he never asked for anything in return. So my husband and I have been together since we were 15 years old, so more than 20 years. The last 4 years, he has had to work out of state because he does very specialized work and there's not work local in our city. And we have a young son. My husband makes very good money, but my big why is to allow him to retire, to allow him to have the opportunity that he gave me. Perhaps he wants to start a business or go into a different career or just stay at home and be a stay-at-home dad. Whatever his choice is, money will give him that choice. And so I, in my business, work very hard to try and quadruple his income. Because as a business owner, we know that we have expenses and what we actually profit and take home is much different than the top line. And I want to take home and double what he makes so that we're still living the life that we're used to living, but he gets the freedom of making a choice about where he works and what he does. Now, if you know me or you've heard this story, you know that I often choke up and I tear up about this story because it's my biggest gift to give that back to him. He unselfishly gave it to me. He works around the clock so that my business could get off the ground where it wasn't making a profit and it wasn't bringing home the money that I could have otherwise made being out at my corporate job. And that is truly a gift that was unselfishly given to me, and I want to give back to him. That's a long story about my big why, but it does twofold. One, gets you really a little bit knowing me, my big why, who I am, what motivates me, but also seeing how your big why could be something personal. It could be something about somebody you love. I have another client and her big why is about buying a home for her mother and letting her mother retire. Her mom's worked her entire life, multiple jobs, was a single mom, and that's what drives her. I want to get back to, why are your big whys so important? Well, if you don't know what it is you're trying to accomplish or for what reason or the purpose of what you're trying to accomplish, then some days you just feel like you're in a rat race, and for what? When you have like a big project or a launch or a big deal that falls apart, it can seem soul crushing. And so what will get you up and going again is your big why and chasing aggressively after it. Everybody's big why is different, just as unique as I am from you and the next person listening to this and the next person, is that we need to honor who we are and we need to honor what matters most to us. Again, money is not the end goal for all of us, but for some of us it is, and that's okay. You'll know when you've identified your big why because the thought of it will make you emotional, will get you choked up, will fire you up about what it is you need to do to accomplish it. I've been asked, can your big why change? Absolutely. Once you achieve your big why, like when I let my husband retire, what's my new big why? And it would be very smart of me when I'm getting really, really close to achieving that big why to find something else. Because if not, what am I going to be aggressively chasing after? Once you hit that goal, what's that next one? And so once you send your kids to college or once you're serving other people in the capacity you want to serve, how can you level that up and go another level? So your big why can change, but generally it's so big, it is going to take you some time to achieve it. I read a book and it was called Start With Why by Simon Sinek. I hope I pronounced that correct, but the book is called Start With Why. And the book was really about for corporations that have their big why, how to get everybody on your team to aggressively go after some purpose and to be working in alignment with each other. Today, we're talking about your personal big why. However, it is smart to have a big why in your business. If you have employees that are working for you, what is it that your company is going after? What is the company's big purpose in what you guys do day to day? And if you can identify that and get everybody on the same page, you will be in alignment and work much more effectively and efficiently. One of the big takeaways from Start With Why for me was that he's saying that most corporations have both a visionary and an executor at the top of the organizational chart. That was very interesting to me because I had an aha in that most small businesses and entrepreneurs generally don't have both of those people. Because generally, if you're a visionary and big thinker, you're not the executor. And if you're the executor, you're not the visionary. However, in our small business as entrepreneurs, you have to be both. And so you're here listening to Productivity Straight Talk to increase your productivity and to execute on a whole higher level. But I don't want you to forget about the benefits of being a big visionary. And this is part of that. You have to have your big why and your execution plan so that together you achieve your goals. And I hope that makes sense to you, but I think that that is something that we're all striving for, is not being so far solely an executor or so far just a visionary and a creative and that we don't execute. And that our happy place is somewhere in the middle where we can pull upon both of those skills to get us to where we want to go. I have a few questions for you. I put together a guide that I think will help you discover your big why. Your big why should be kind of journaled and answer some questions and go deep. And once you've gotten to your big why, take it a little deeper and ask again. And then take it a little deeper and ask again. But let me talk about just a few of the questions you'll find on the guide when you download it at theproductivityspecialist.com/103 download. And you can get the free guide by going there and just downloading it. It's yours. I want you to be able to print it out, Take some time, have a cup of coffee, some time with yourself, and really answer these questions. The first one is, who or what is the most important thing in your life? What has a huge emotional effect on you? Do you like to give back to other people? Do you want to have some sort of social impact? Do you really feel super passionate? What lights you up? Is it children? Is it elderly? Is it your parents, your spouse, your children, yourself? Is it you? Do you want to travel the world? What lights you up? Your business can fund your dreams. Why did I go into business in the first place? Did you have this great idea and felt like you were uniquely talented and you wanted to provide it to everybody else? Or did you want the independence and the success of being a business owner? Why did you go into business to begin with? Why do you want to stay in business for yourself? Sometimes the easy way out is to go back and hit corporate again or to hit the 9-to-5. But there's something that's holding you back and that you are willing to take on those challenges of being an entrepreneur. Why? Why do you want to grow your business and increase your personal income? What will that income do for you? Like I said, my husband and I really believe that money gives you the opportunity to make choices. You have more options. And so when you have more money than you need, you're not doing things for money. You're not showing up to work because you have to have the money. You're showing up to work because you're passionate about it, because your work will change the lives of other people. Why do you want to increase your income and what will that do for you? And why is this so important? Why? Why you? Why are you the person? What is the purpose for your big why? Those are just a few of the questions you're going to find on the guide when you download it at theproductivityspecialist/103 download. I have loved talking to you today and jamming out about your big why, and I hope that you're going to get super, super clear about your big why. And in the future episodes, I'm going to be tackling your goals and how to execute on them. And everything we do and talk about regarding goals is going to tie back to your big why. While I have loved having you listen to Productivity Straight Talk, I need to be straight with you. No change, no change. Without taking action, nothing will change for you or your business. So based on what you learned, what will you take action on today? Go do your big why. Download this guide and take the time to discover your big why. You've just invested 20 to 30 minutes listening to me on this episode. Don't make that a waste of your time. Download it, take action, and discover why you do what you do. To share your actionables and receive support, guidance, and motivation from entrepreneurs just like you, join us inside Productivity Straight Talk private Facebook group. You can join by going to productivitycommunity.com. So that's my straight talk for you today. And I look forward to next week when we'll be talking to Nick Snap. And we're going to be discussing accountability and how it helps improve your personal productivity. And until next time, have a productive week.